And now, your official TigerBait live show with Mike Scarborough and Buddy Songy starts now.
All right, everybody. Welcome into a LSU Alabama week edition of TigerBait Live. Got a lot to talk about tonight. Obviously, all the marbles in the SEC West are certainly paves the way to get into Atlanta. Whoever wins this football game Saturday night in Tuscaloosa, Bryant-Denny Stadium. And, of course, you're going to get a little bit of Gary Danielson if you're not actually making that road trip. And so Nestler and Danielson, one of the last times you'll hear them calling it an LSU game, and as CBS's contract ends. But this one's going to be a very interesting game. The line's about 4, Buddy, and over and under is about 60. And I think both fan bases are nervous. And so we're going to take a bunch of your comments and questions, and I think we're going to have a big show tonight. Welcome in, Buddy.
Good to see you, Mike, publisher of TigerBait.com. Happy Halloween, everybody. As you know, when you play football, when you coach football, when you talk football, you have to audibilize. And Mike called an audible earlier in the week and said, look, you know I have a lot of fun. I'm covering the women tomorrow. Let's move it up to Tuesday. It coincides with Dale Brown making his 88th birthday today, and Nick Saban turns 72. A lot of stats, a lot of stuff. CFP poll just came out an hour or so ago. LSU 14, Bama 8, Georgia 2. We'll get into all of that. But as you alluded to, Ole Miss is 10 in the CFP poll, but they still have a lot of work to do, including a big one at Georgia next weekend.
Well, TigerBait Halloween edition says Raymond. Gary Williams says Tuesday edition of TigerBait. And Bart Smokey says, where is Willy Wonka? I was going to wear it. We had a Halloween party Saturday night. I went as Willy Wonka. The missus went as Wednesday Addams. I told Buddy dared me, and I was all set to do it. And he goes, you're not going to do it, because he wasn't going to dress up. So I'll show you this. I did, since I didn't have it, but I think I have it loaded up. There it is. There's your Willy Wonka right there, including the golden ticket candy bars.
It looked fantastic. I was going to be Nick Saban tonight if you were going to be Willie, but I didn't have time to color my hair before the show.
There you go. Let's see. I was going to do it, by the way. Buddy said, you're not doing it. James Moore, hey, Buddy and Mike, we're going to get vintage Nick on Saturday, and that is running the football to keep Daniels on the sidelines. Absolutely. They like to run it, about 55 or 60% of the time. They're going to want to do it as much as possible. Hey, Buddy, should we release the dogs on Milroe like Texas did?
Interesting. One of the things I was going to bring up to you, man, I watched a little bit of the tape of last year in Tiger Stadium, 2022. Harold Perkins just starting to come into his own. Bryce Young, the Heisman Trophy winner from the year before, Mike, Harold Perkins was all over the field in the first half. Bama didn't score a touchdown until later on in the game. That fourth quarter was crazy. But do you think that Matt House, having 2 weeks to get ready with Pete Jenkins and all the defensive brain trust, do you think they're going to have some different stuff and maybe dial up a little more pressure, seeing that Alabama has given up 35 sacks in 8 games?
I think there's going to be some new wrinkles. Look, Brian Kelly says we are what we are. He likes to say that a lot. But I also think when he says it this week, it's because with the open date, there's some things that, it's not just the self-scouting and, tendencies and trying to get rid of them. But with this defense and missing the corners and not having Wingo, and knowing you just need to get, I don't know how many stops you think you probably need. But that's going to be the difference. And so I don't know how they bring the pressure, but I think they're going to bring the pressure. The question is, if this offensive line for Alabama isn't as salty as they normally are, how many do you need to bring to get the pressure? So we'll see.
By the way, LSU defense, just to recap, overcoming adversity. First, Jimmy Lindsey, medical situation. Then Greg Brooks, one of the defensive captains, medical situation. Zy Alexander gets hurt on the last play of the first half. And now we find out Mekhi Wingo this past Monday out for the year. Another defensive captain. That's 4 big parts of it. If they have a great game, you're going to see some new numbers. We'll talk about new corners. Denver Harris and Deuce Chestnut still on the roster, still on the team, but in the doghouse right now, not available, won't travel. And so Sage Ryan going to have to play the game of his life. And then 3 or 4 freshmen are going to have to step up at the cornerback spot.
Dane Bergeron says, good evening, Mike and Buddy. Happy Halloween. Absolutely. Mike McGrath. Good evening, my Bengal brothers. Abby Celestine says, go Tigers all the way from Las Vegas. Inside the Blueprint by Corey Isaac says, we have to get Milroe off point and hit him early and often. Keep him from throwing that deep ball. Yeah, and look, man, they've got a running back that is very adept in the receiving game and all-purpose yards. We know what Burton can do. The worst-case scenario is Burton having a 180-yard receiving night and 9 or 10 receptions and 2 or 3 touchdowns.
By the way, who will be the boundary corner? That is where Zy had been playing the last couple of weeks, really got better at it the last couple of weeks. Sage Ryan, somebody's going to have to play on the boundary. Jeremiah Hughes, we saw him, but he was here in the spring. Ashton Stamps, of course, and Javion Toviano, all of those are freshmen. And Mike LaTerrence Welsh, a lot of people asking, is he in the doghouse? Is he going to get a look-see? Those are your 5 guys potentially at corner. Of course, Burns and Andre Sam coming off 2 INTs last week. But here's the thing, 99 Jordan Jefferson, 94 Paris Shan, and 13 Braden Swinson are going to have to play more because of the injuries. Be great to see Savion Jones have a big sack and Ken Mason exert what we've all expected from the big zero.
And Guillory.
And Jacoby and Guillory, tank. So, look, a lot of guys on the defense, but if the front line and the linebackers can play better and you put pressure on him, it helps the secondary a bunch.
Absolutely. All right, guys, you know the drill. If you're enjoying the show, do us a favor and please hit that like button. Very much appreciate that. Helps us with the YouTube algorithm and makes it so that we get in that recommended viewing portion of YouTube. Jeff Garman says 64 years ago this evening, 64 years old this evening. If so, happy birthday, Jeff. Barry Barbier, tall task for LSU to win in T-Town with the injuries on defense would be a mild upset. Need some guys to step up.
2-2 the last 4 years. Of course, LSU beat him in 19. Mike, I think that's the most excited I've ever heard my sister. She called me at halftime. It's 31-13. And, of course, as we know, that game went down to the end at 46-41. LSU beat them last year. They beat LSU in the COVID year and, of course, beat LSU by a touchdown in 21. So, yeah, but have you ever remembered LSU traveling to Alabama and the spread being under a touchdown? That tells you Vegas thinks LSU's got a great chance in this game.
They do, because the offense is just fantastic. I think the biggest key is you don't want to see Ramos out there too much.
No.
You get in the red zone, you need touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I saw a stat. Alabama's the best team in college football in the third quarter. So if you win the toss, you defer.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them have that opportunity to come out like gangbusters and get a score right off the bat to start the second half.
27-0 last time Bama played. They beat Tennessee in the second half. Of course, LSU, some incredible stats. 4 straight games they have scored 48 points or more. But here's the kicker, and I didn't realize it until I read Michael Bonnett's report this week. 7 consecutive games of over 500 yards. I know offense is a lot more prolific and obviously passing more so than the old days. Mike, 7 straight games of 500 yards, 4 straight games of running for over 200, 4 consecutive games of 48 or more. Something's got to give Saturday night, and I like LSU's chances with the big plays. You know Nick Saban's going to make sure one thing. He is not going to let Jaden Daniels beat him And you could tell from his comments this week, they're going to have a spy on Jaden Daniels.
Dane Bergeron, come on, man. You two did not mention Billy Cannon's Halloween night run, but mentioned Dale Brown and Nick Saban. That is what happened 64 years ago. Dane, that was in black and white footage, man.
But he's right. My bad, Dane. I should have that classic.
How were you?
Oh, I don't remember. I can't compute that. I know one thing. I wasn't there. I didn't see it like everybody else has claimed.
I mean, what are we going to do? Sparky Wade and Harry Ravenhorse trivia?
Look, Billy Cannon on Halloween
I
night.
will tell you this, buddy. I've been doing shows with you for 25 plus years. I can tell you my generation, Gen X, was getting sick and tired of hearing about Billy Cannon.
Yeah. Well,
because that was the only thing that was there for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Only Heisman.
I mean, in the 90s. And it was like, I'll never forget. And look, Billy Cannon's a great Tiger, obviously. But I remember in the 90s when LSU was struggling really bad and it was time to hire a new football coach, they'd go interview Billy Cannon. And he would say some things that would just irritate the heck out of LSU fans. And, it isn't what it used to be. You can't get this guy. Or, then you had Joe Dean there pulling the strings. But it's kind of like my generation had Chris Jackson. But every time you would talk about Chris Jackson, the generation before would have to you couldn't bring up Chris Jackson without someone bringing up Pete Maravich. But Billy Cannon was the only thing until Saban arrived. Right?
Well, look,
you had a little stretch there with Bill Arnsbarger and Tommy Hodson.
Look, Dr. Cannon was great to me with the show. We had a great relationship, tragic passing. So I give Dane credit. I think the biggest difference we have now is that Halloween was a Saturday night in Tiger Stadium, and they ended up winning 7-3, as we know. And, of course, now it's on a Tuesday night. But well noted, Dane. Snake, whatever you've won by tonight.
If you really want to go back even further, Gaynell Tinsley taught me math at Terra High School.
Okay.
Kevin Bernard, great show, guys. My son went to Wood Creek Junior High School with Milroe in Katy, Texas. And as a kid, he could rip it throwing the ball. It's going to be tough for our Tigers, but let's go.
The other thing that, Mike, is going to be interesting, and Tommy Rees, here's the interesting coaching parallels. Tommy Rees played at Notre Dame for Brian Kelly, coached with him. He tried to get him over here, and he said no. And, of course, that's how you got Denbrock. Saban grabs him and the transfer quarterback over. Tommy Rees is a guy that likes to run it. Would not shock me if they run Jalen Milroe on some quarterback draws. And as you alluded to with our comment and our viewer, he throws a really good deep ball. So if you see him get to the second or third level, he is going to punish the DBs. On the other hand,
go for the PI. Don't let him catch it.
And exactly.
Hold him.
Hold him. 15 yards is better than giving up a score. But the other thing is, they are going to try to put pressure and be physical with Jaden Daniels. And this is a game where LSU is going to have their big boy pants on. And I think some of those guys on the D-line are going to be more physical. Mekhi Wingo has been playing on one leg. You hate to see him get out for the year, but he's been hurt most of the year, Mike, at least last month for sure.
Dane says, Mike, are you a closet Tulane fan not knowing about Billy Cannon's run? See, you really show your age if you say someone's a Tulane fan or if you say LSU's biggest rival is Ole Miss. That's when you're really showing your age.
Yeah, well, look, the Boomer group with me is we like all of that history, but I will tell you this, Mike. This offense is unparalleled on what they have done. Jaden Daniels threw 17 touchdown passes last year. He's already got 25. He's got 3 interceptions. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns. That's 30 touchdowns. He fumbled 1 time against Ole Miss on that tough hit. 3 INTs, 30 touchdowns for 4 turnovers. That's pretty good. Back to the point, Jalen Milroe has not looked great early on. He's getting better each week. Let's see what that defensive front can do against an offensive line. I've never heard of an Alabama line giving up 35 sacks, coming into the LSU game.
Yep. Cajun Big Tony, why so many injuries and is training not up to par? I tell you what, the DB position is something else.
Well, I think that it's always hard to ascertain what what causes an injury. That was the fluke thing with Zy Alexander. That's not training. But look, a lot of injuries going on. Every high school, college, and pro, about this time, everybody's getting injuries. Kirk Cousins just got out for the year with Minnesota, and on and on and on. That being said, Mike, I'm excited to see what these young guys can do in the secondary. I'm excited that Jordan Jefferson, oh, by the way, Brian Kelly said it this week, he's graded out higher than any other defensive lineman. And if Trucking by Casper doesn't call in,
we might not have Trucking by Casper because we're on Tuesday night. He might not know.
Oh,
going early this
goodness
week.
gracious! He's going to have to. He's going to have to. Hey, tell if you're a friend of Trucking by Casper, because we appreciate all those loyal viewers. And look, it's Tuesday. It's early for the field, but something tells me this is going to come down to a field goal game at the end.
Bill Ferrer, Jordan Jefferson will exercise that bad karma of 2011, order restored. You know, in the preseason, I said LSU's going to beat Alabama for the second year in a row. But it sure does make it this defense, with all the question marks, sure does test that a bit. But I'm going to stick with it. I just think LSU's going to put it together. They're going to figure out a way defensively to get just one or two more stops, and that'll be the difference. Jay Daniels obviously has to have a big night. It could be the difference for him winning the Heisman, and he needs it. If you're going to win the Heisman with 2 losses, you got to beat Alabama on CBS in prime time.
Only 2 quarterbacks in LSU history have 2 wins over Alabama: Tommy Hodson and Jamarcus Russell. And Nick Saban has only lost to the same quarterback back-to-back times, one time in his career at Michigan State.
Okay.
Drew Brees. Only quarterback to ever beat him back-to-back. All that's on the table for Jaden Daniels. And that's mighty good company there. Anytime you're with Drew Brees. But look, Nick is going to have a defensive game plan. You know he's going to try to minimize Jaden Daniels. They're going to put pressure on him. LSU is going to have to get rid of it quickly. Big game. Emory Jones is back at right tackle. Lance Hurd ready to go in if they need be. Will Campbell. Those guys have big games blocking those edge rushers from Bama.
How'd you like the what about Wingo? You know, about the halfway point of the press conference. Oh, he's out for the season.
Well, he's been playing hurt, and it's a shame. Although I will say this, I think that bodes well for that young man to come back now. Number one, he's not the biggest of guys. Number two, off an injury, and number three, LSU ought to be able to get him an NIL deal to get him back as a senior. That's one of the things that Saban's been successful at, getting you to come back for your senior year.
Dane says some of us are lifelong Tiger fans, not just from Saban forward. Absolutely. My point is my age, because of my age, my earliest recollection is about 1977, Carlos Carson and Charles Alexander, and went through McClendon to Stovall to Arnsparger to Archer to Hallman, DiNardo. That 87 team, when you start talking about the best teams in LSU history, that 87 team should be in the conversation. What, top 3, 4, 5? How good that team could have been.
I went 10-1-1 in Archer's first year. I started in the media business the next year in '88.
Right.
So, but LSU and Alabama, look, LSU does play better in Tuscaloosa. And you were talking about the third quarter and what they do in the third quarter. I want to see LSU start. You do not want to get behind in this game. Start fast.
Gomaha 23 says, with a healthy secondary, LSU 45, Bama 30. Without, he's saying 38-35 LSU.
Yeah. I'm picking by a field goal. I don't know what the score is, but I certainly do think both teams will be over 30 points. And the last time that we hear Gary Danielson and Nessler,
I like Nessler,
slobbering all over Nick in an LSU-Alabama game, I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to warn you. Daniel's going to piss you off. Danielson will piss you off at least 5 times in the first half, and maybe my over and under 10 times he gives you the Reds by the end of the game.
Did you guys, did you see it? The video of the new LSU women's basketball team's locker room today?
I did not look at that, but you told me it was impressive.
It's unbelievable. And you guys let me know if a certain D-bag mass communications professor at LSU had to chime in about it, because I'm sure he did.
Come on, man.
Yeah. Go Omaha. If LSU was decimated cornerback, Tiger run away with this one. Okay, I see you're putting all those comments. Yeah, Bo Jack says, I believe that Wingo had surgery to get ready for the combine. Would love to have him back next year, though.
It's different. NIL can get you back. This is one of the things that Saban has done. And if LSU can start to do this to get those juniors, look, let's be honest. Savion Jones, Mason Smith, and Wingo have not had the years that we all thought they would have.
That would be absolutely huge, because LSU's current defensive line class, it's very sparse, and Wingo would be a huge if they could convince him to come back.
Well, we don't know the severity of the injury and how long he's going to be affected, but I understand what the guy's thinking. You know, most of these guys want to go after their junior year, but we'll see how it plays out.
Bart Smokey said Lynn Rollins picked LSU 38-27. Bart told me that Monday, and he says Bart's not really that guy to be a homer. And there you go. And Lynn Rollins actually lives in the state of Alabama now, so lives in the Auburn area. Dane adds, Buddy, as Coach Armsbarger used to tell the team before an Alabama game, we're down 10-0. Let's go play our asses off.
Well, look, we all know it. I made mention of it last week about the officiating and the penalties. Last year, in case you have forgotten, Alabama had over 100 yards of penalties, and Eli Ricks had 3 15-yard penalties, including a couple pass interference calls. Now, Eli, of course, is playing with Philadelphia now, but I don't want a bunch of replays, and I do not want man, you just play your butt off, but I think that's a good mindset. Act like you're already 10 points down and put the pedal to the metal offensively. LSU can do it, man. I'd love to see LSU jump out early, and then let's not forget John Emery, for whatever reason, sometimes plays lights out against Alabama.
What does Jaden Daniels' stat line have to look like for you to say, if you just look at his stat line and you'd say LSU won that football game? Or is it could be 29 of 31. He could have a stat line like Joe Burrow's, but with his typical rushing, and it could still look like that, and LSU lose because of the defense.
Yeah. Well, look, Daniels has been over 400 yards, one time less of Joe Burrow, 5 times this year. Burrow did it 6 and 19. Oh, by the way, did you know on CBS, the most viewed college regular season game in their history was the 2019 LSU-Alabama game? Had all those superstars and first-round picks. This one is not as gaudy with
2:30 kickoff.
This one is not as gaudy with the stars, but you know,
it's still LSU Alabama,
and
the SEC West is on the line.
And look, Alabama fans are going to talk smack, but you know deep down they were nervous because Milroe has been inconsistent. When he's on, he's good. LSU's defense. What are you going to see Saturday?
I've done 3 or 4 Alabama radio shows in the last 2 days, and when their hosts, and they're all Alabama network shows, and they're not confident at all.
No,
they're not.
Well, you don't know what Alabama team's going to show up. If you get the one against LSU, if LSU plays the one that played Arkansas, LSU wins without trouble. If you get the one that played in the second half of Tennessee, then that's a much better Alabama team.
Jeff Garman, historically, LSU plays a lot better at Alabama. That's true. It was always, it took a while to break that home losing streak, but LSU has typically played better in Tuscaloosa. All right. So the team at Koala Insulation of Baton Rouge are your residential and commercial energy efficiency experts. The approaches that Koala provides not only help you reduce energy bills and maintain a more comfortable living environment, but can also help you reduce airborne allergens, water condensation issues, wear and tear on your HVAC system, and even lengthen the life of your roof shingles. The Koala team provides existing homeowners with the doctor's diagnosis of your home's energy efficiency. It can offer several strategies to help you stay more comfortable and save money on energy bills all year long. Koala has the capacity to tackle large spray foam projects and new home construction while being available to help everyday homeowners get some relief from South Louisiana's extreme weather. As an added bonus, most of Koala's projects qualify for federal income tax credits. Give Koala a call today at 225-457-1001 to schedule your free energy efficiency assessment, and tell them you heard about it on TigerBait.com. And if you do, you're going to get 7% off on your project. Tim DeSales and his team at Koala are the absolute best in the business. And again, tell them you heard about them on TigerBait.com.
Hey, it's Michael and Alex again with Pride Roofing. Here we grow again. Did your roof get to Niger and Hurricane Ida?
The insurance company is playing game with you.
Don't forget, August 29th is your 2-year anniversary to make a claim.
Your neighbor got new roof, why not you?
Pay your deductible. We're fortified, certified.
We do your roof, you came on the Pride umbrella, bet on Pride.
855-PRIDE-16.
There you go. Talked to Mike Faraday a couple of hours ago. Things are really hopping over at Pride Roofing. They've gotten all moved in to their new big facility. And of course, got a brand new facility in Houma, here in Baton Rouge. Give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16. Say TigerBait, and along with your free roof inspection, they're going to give you TigerBait Premium free for a year. That's a $99 value, and they're paying for it.
Residential, commercial, and metal roofs. Metal roofs, very hot. This is a Pride Roofing type of game. Mike, remember when we first started talking about Brian Kelly, said he was going to bring the Pride back to LSU football. Kim Mulkey, Natty, Pride back. Jay Johnson, Natty, Pride back. This is a Pride Roofing type of game. You're going to have great pride if LSU goes in there and beats Nick Saban in Alabama again. And once again, all we ask is an opportunity. Mike said it. Free roofing inspection, 855-PRIDE-16. Mike Kirby still running our Baton Rouge office. Very busy. You may get an answer machine, 275-2041. And as we know, in Hammond, heavily invested with Southeastern Athletics, and they just take care of you. They get there early. They do the job right. Yes, they will sharpen the pencil. Give them an opportunity. They want your business. Tell them Mike and Buddy sent you over.
Absolutely. Brad David or Brad David with another super chat. He said,
David, huh?
I say David if he's in Louisiana.
That's what we're going with, Brad.
Buddy, is your dislike of Danielson from what he said about Glenn Dorsey, or is it something else?
It started with the talk about Glenn Dorsey in the LSU Auburn game many years ago. Dorsey got hurt, and Danielson had the coconuts to say Glenn Dorsey should never play another down of college football. And I took issue with that because this is what football is all about. It's that bond. It's putting your career and your lifeline and your health on the line every time. And you can't play that way. You just can't play that way where you are going to put yourself in front of I'm not playing anymore. I don't want to get hurt. I got to go with the pros. But that and then look, I saw Gary Danielson one night over at Ruffino's, and God bless Ruffin, we still miss him. But he walked out the restaurant and had 2 knee pads, Nick on the left knee and Saban on the right knee, and that has alienated me. I loved it when they stole his jacket in Tiger Stadium years ago. But no, Danielson is not my cup of tea. Sorry.
Thank you for that super chat, Brad. Rick Cloetti, Danielson is a Bama homer. Even when they make blatant mistakes, he defaults to defending them on air. It's obvious. Bill Freer, who's better, Caden or Barry?
Of course, Caden Durham is a 24 coming in, and Harlan Berry is coming in 25.
Man, that's tough. But I'm probably going to go Barry.
Well,
That's tough. I mean, they're both elite. I mean, and Caden Durham's doing it in Duncanville, Texas at a high elite level.
yeah.
You look at St. Martin's Episcopal schedule, and I don't know who 2/3 of those teams even are.
Yeah. The competition is different. Of course, hey, how cool was this to see Trey Holly? Hadn't played all year. They're going to redshirt him. Great to see that young man take 60-plus yards to the house. And I love the fact, Mike, that Daniels sat down and Nuss played. But I love the fact that the O-line and all the guys on the D-line, the safeties, the secondary, the corners, got a chance to play. They've been busting their tail for months and months. Good to see LSU get some people in against Army.
And by the way, we have brand new Harlan Berry footage. We went and shot him Thursday night against Cohen, and got a lot of footage of him. And you can still easily find that on the front page of TigerBait or hit the recruiting tab. And we've got a lot of footage. Real excited about the Dunham quarterback for 27.
Oh man, Elijah.
Yeah. Put that up today. And we're going to be out at 3 games Friday night. So we've got a lot of prospect footage. It's high quality for you. Bar Smokey asks who's the next flip LSU gets. And I know A&M folks seem to be a little bit more confident in holding on to Terry Bussey. We'll see. Relaford, he's supposed to come for the Florida game. That'll be very important if they can get him flipped around. A&M's fighting to hold on to him as well. So, but getting Weston Davis, the offensive lineman from Beaumont, was absolutely huge. This offensive line deal that we're seeing at LSU right now, we will have never seen a stretch that we're about to see at LSU, because last year's offensive line got better as the season came along, and we know about the 2 freshmen and what they did. And now this year's offensive line with depth. Yeah, you lose Emory Jones, but the guys held the fort down, and now you're adding to it next year. We're going to go multiple years in a row now where you're in the off season, and we're not saying that the offensive line is the biggest question mark on offense.
Yeah, Lance Hurd's a plug-and-play guy, came in. LSU did not miss a beat. He was nervous the first 10 plays or so. Been fantastic since. And as we know, Weston Davis right there in the Beaumont area. The 3 kids, of course, Will and Emory and Hurd, all Louisiana products. Great to be able to recruit and get those big uglies in that I-10 corridor.
Bo Jacks, I'd be lying if I said I won't miss CBS's games, though. Look, that theme song, when they played it last year and they put Big Ten footage behind it, that just looked sacrilegious. I certainly liked it before it was Danielson, when it was Blackledge. I wish he would have stayed as the color guy on CBS. And, of course, Vern. And our institution, it's maybe we're all going to miss it more than we think. We'll see.
They do a good job with production. They also have more commercials, and I think that is part of the discussion. We never mentioned Jenny Dell, but she's probably the trio of those trio. She's the most liked and does a good job on the sideline. Obviously, a lot of buildup. Can you imagine what this place is going to be like? Oh, by the way, Bryant Denny, not known to be loud. They got into it and were a factor against Tennessee. I think Nick is going to be telling those people all week long in Tuscaloosa, we need you this weekend. And I've never seen him.
They were real loud with Texas, but they still lost.
But I've never seen Saban running off the field and putting a cigar and after that Tennessee game. So trust me, Nick knows that if he wants to have a chance to make it in the playoff, they've got to win this game, run the table, and then beat Georgia in the SEC championship game.
Todd Davis, Barry, and Cade might be about the same. Look, they're elite. You can have differences, just like last year. Caleb Jackson and Trey Holly. It's a good problem to have.
Well, you said Harlan Berry reminds you of Joe McKnight.
Yeah,
a similar type of back. Who would Caden Durham remind you of as far as?
I don't have a comparison on him yet.
Yeah.
I have not seen Caden Durham in person. That's usually where
okay, makes sense.
I've seen all the film, Scrolling down, guys. Whoa, Dwayne D couldn't stand Vern either. Oh no, Eric Reed on this interception versus Alabama. He couldn't even hide it anymore. The thrill. Love the show, Mike and Buddy. Let's go this weekend. Go Tigers. Edo, the Nuss bus driver. I don't trust Ramos to win one on the road. He missed a kick at Ole Miss and Missouri.
Interesting point. I think those are the only 2 field goals he's missed. Will Reichelt of Alabama has not missed this year. 15 for 15. Having Drew Alamo on his show Friday. Of course, he kicked the game winner in the game of the century. So, look, special teams. Let's see if Greg Clayton can come up and field some punts. He's doing a better job, but can't give up one of those punts where it's short. You don't come up and fair catch it, and it bounces 15 yards. It costs you 15 yards of lost possession. Love to see special teams be on. Look, we appreciate O and his comments, and I hope Damian Ramos can prove everybody wrong. This kid from Bama has not missed yet. That'd be incredible if Ramos had the game winner.
Paul Escon, it was very windy at Missouri. I was there. Palermo Trapani, Bama is giving up 282 a game, 15th. Ole Miss is at 329, and Auburn and State are both at 350% per game. So LSU has put up points on solid defenses. Bama is the best of those, but not one of their elite defenses.
I agree with everything he just said. And let me tell you something about Jaden Daniels. He got a little bit bigger. I don't know. You think he's legitimate 210 or he's now in the 207, 208 range, whatever. He got bigger, especially in the upper body. He's releasing the deep ball, throwing it in the bucket. But, man, you don't realize how fast he is until you have to try and put your helmet in his stomach and tackle him. He's tough. Once again, JD, got to get down. You don't want to take punishment and get a late hit and get knocked out of this game. So, but he's so fast running. And Milroe, oh, by the way, pretty darn quick as well.
Kindercamp. Guys, in all your years of covering LSU, who are the top 3 misses in recruiting from Louisiana? LSU missed on, excluding Brock Berlin and Dak Prescott. Who was the big defensive player from Abbeville? Brandon Mitchell.
Yeah,
went to A&M.
Uh-huh.
You had all those kids from the late 80s, early 90s. Roland Seymour, Wart Dunn. I mean, the biggest is your Hall of Famer from
Devonta Smith, who was a Heisman, and I know you followed that. I mean, they did everything they could to get that kid.
The best safety in the history of the NFL, Ed Reed.
Yeah, Miami. And by the way, for Dane and the old guys, Johnny Hector from New Iberia, who at the time, Dane will tell you this, there were 2 scholarships signed. He signed the first one at LSU, ended up going to Texas.
But there was also
A&M.
a run of guys that made a lot of people sick on signing day, but then they never panned out wherever they went.
Well, you remember the Bash? The Bash was like there was a
Thomas
stink
Pittman.
But yeah, but there was a stink fest when Joe McKnight went to USC, shut down the Bash and the atmosphere, and yet LSU won a national championship while he was at USC. So,
and there was a lot of guys like that where you would miss them, but then the guy you had for the next 2 or 3 years, you didn't miss him.
Yeah.
So it was, Reggie Wayne. There you go. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. Well, the Peyton Manning deal was, you got to really remember, Josh Booty was a higher rated quarterback. And then he signed with the Marlins. Eli Manning was really not a guy they pursued.
Now, I'm sure there's a lot more we'll remember tomorrow. But look, what did coaches say? You can't worry about the ones you don't get. You worry about the ones that you can get. Your buddy Jacques asked a great question today. If you missed it, it was basically, do you tweak your culture to let somebody play, i.e. you could tell it was reference to the 2 cornerbacks that are in the doghouse, to in this world of winning at all costs, or do you draw the line in the sand, and everybody on that team knows if you screw up, you're going to sit. And I thought that was a great answer. Coach Kelly said he does it that way. People don't want to hear it. Brian Kelly and his staff value character more than talent. And sometimes in this day and age, that is hard to stomach as a recruiting fan.
You had all those kids at Evangel, Eric Jefferson, the late Cole Pittman, his younger brother, of course, came to LSU and had he got a national championship ring, right?
Yeah.
Geiger, a lot of Evangel kids left. Raynock Thompson. Yeah, I'm gonna remember. A lot of these names are gonna come up. Yeah, Matt Forte was a big miss for LSU. Who is the kid from Bel Air, the athlete?
Yeah, the Mike Haywood was recruiting him.
Yep.
Look, there are hundreds of them, but once again, I think the crux of the conversation, Mike, LSU's got to get back in on some D linemen. If you don't do it with recruits, you're going to have to go in the transfer portal. But Mason Smith, Savion Jones, and now with the injury, Mekhi Wingo, I think they all three have decisions at the end of the year on which way they're going to go.
Jay Forbes, happy Halloween, Mike and Buddy. Will this weekend be a trick or a treat? I'm sticking with a treat.
Yeah, I got LSU winning it, and that's funny that Coach O'Krabs said Damian Ramos. I got Damian Ramos winning this game. Weldy Moore, yes. Saw the basketball game. Mike Haywood was recruiting Weldy Moore from Bel Air. He ended up being a hell of a football player, Tulane and the NFL.
Very good. Super kid.
Yeah.
Now we're getting some Harvey Williams in here. We're getting a lot of old school stuff. Pork Rind says Alabama's going to beat our ass like a hammer.
Is that a Len Rollins comment?
Ed Reed, work done. The wide receiver that played with the Colts, like Peyton, was damn good. You talking about Brandon Stokely or Reggie Wayne?
What Reggie Wayne?
There you go. Yeah, Tracy Porter, Joe McKnight, bringing back a lot of memories here. Rick Cloetti, Mike and Buddy, if LSU wins, what do we need to beat Ole Miss? They still have UGA and A&M, right?
Yeah, they've got A&M this weekend at home. Then they play at Georgia. And look, the way this thing goes, if LSU, Bama, and Ole Miss all end up with one loss, three-way tie, you go with your Eastern Division opponents and their records, and LSU would win that tiebreaker. So I don't know which Georgia team is going to show up, but right now that will be interesting to see if Ole Miss is 10 in the new CFP, Bama's 8, of course Georgia's 2, LSU comes in at 14.
Carvis Door, Swinson needs to play a lot this weekend. Look, all those guys, I've liked the way they've been rotating in and out, and since Pete Jenkins arrived on campus, a month ago now? Right at a month. Yeah. Trevon Lawrence. I just don't see Bama stopping the number one offense in the country. And I think LSU defense will do enough to get by.
And here's the other caveat. LSU's leading the country in third down conversion. I used to bitch about Denbrock. I used to bitch about Ensminger. 58% conversion on third down. That is going to be a big part of this game. Bama's going to put LSU in more third downs because their defense is better. Can Denbrock and LSU once again have a gaudy record on third down? And as you know, on defense, Mike, you got to get off the field. The main thing you also said, Mike told you, can't settle for field goals. Got to score touchdowns in a game like this when you get in the red zone.
Yeah, I don't know. You got the charts and the analytics, and you just hope there's not several instances where, you're having to make a debate as to whether bring the field goal unit out or not.
Yeah.
You need to get touchdowns. Look what they did. Alabama did to Tennessee
in the second half. Yeah.
Yep. C-Man, CUC, buddy, I was searching for your show and couldn't find it. That's on our message board. The new link is at the top of TigerBait's Tiger Den Premium message board. But if you don't have access to that, at the end of the show, once the show's over, put a comment, link to Buddy's show, and I'll reply and put it there for you. And of course, Buddy's live every day, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. And you just need that link to stream it.
Alan Risher, one of our guests tomorrow. When Alan Risher was a quarterback and captain in 82, Jerry Stovall was the coach. They literally, and you remember this now.
Yep.
They went over there. Bear Bryant and Alabama did not have a first down in the first half. Now, you compare that defense with what LSU has now. LSU won that ball game 20-10. Invariably, Bear goes to midfield and told Jerry Stovall, "You guys beat our ass." He retired after that season and tragically passed away 3 or 4 months later.
Yeah. Tom Wood followed Jaden Daniels to LSU from Arizona State, and what a ride. LSU has a great football community. And, it's kind of been fun watching Jaden Daniels, and there are some parallels between him and Joe Burrow. There really are. Certainly LSU's not having his second season like Burrow's second season, but a strong first year after transferring in a second year. And in this case, for Jaden Daniels, for the first time in his career, having the same OC and quarterbacks coach for 2 years in a row. And now he's in the Heisman hunt, and this game could be just like it was for launching Burrow. But I'm trying to remember. I mean, who at this juncture, at this time, was there anybody even really who was closest to Burrow at that point?
All I can tell you is that
it was the biggest landslide vote in Heisman history.
Absolutely. LSU ran the table, went 15-0 that year.
I know, but this week.
No, I think he was head and shoulders above everybody right now because they had played a killer schedule and were blowing everybody out. But transfer portal, 2 years coming from Ohio State,
right.
Arizona State. I'm so proud of that young man because he's made a lot of money this year, Mike. If you watch the NFL on Sunday, there are a lot of bad quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, and others now. Josh Allen with Buffalo. They are implementing more quarterback runs. Hell, one of the reasons Cincinnati beat the 49ers was Joe Burrow's healthy and can run again. Jaden Daniels is going to make a lot of money, but a lot of people doubt it. His ability to get better throwing the football, this is the last litmus test. Can he do it on that stage in front of millions watching Saturday night? I'm confident he's going to play his butt off. Now, are they going to have to catch the football? Yes. Are they going to have to convert on third down? Yes. Can you use Mason Taylor? I'd love to see more targets from Mason Taylor. They couldn't stop him last year.
Yeah, Mason Taylor came out for player interviews tonight. We've got all those up on the YouTube channel and easily found on the front page of TigerBait. Again, if y'all are enjoying the show, please hit that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Let's hear from Brittany at Drip IV, and she's going to give us the ins and outs on what's going on with her metabolism booster.
Today we're giving Lauren a metabolism boost shot. I've been loving these shots. I got one the other day. I had the best clean energy all day. It is loaded with B vitamins and amino acids, and it also helps with metabolism of fat. They are incredible, and that's it. They're super painless. I give it with a Botox needle in the shoulder so you don't feel anything.
There you go. Get over to Drip IV. You've been struggling to lose weight. They have semaglutide that we've been talking about. Everybody, there's so many people around Baton Rouge, the weight's just falling off of them. They've got the premier stuff over at Drip IV, and both two locations, Baton Rouge, Lafayette. Give them a call, 225-256-3634. Tell them you heard about them on TigerBait. They've got everything you need over at Drip IV to get well. And if you want to lose weight, they've got the stuff that's that's legit and proven, the highest grade of semaglutide.
Get the drip.
All right. Tyree Love with a super chat. Thank you guys for always putting on a great show. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for that super chat. Palermo Trapani, I'm 100% pasta and meatballs, but my wife does the cooking. My sister does well, but my father still. Okay, what are we talking about now?
I thought he was talking about.
Are y'all trading recipes in the chat?
Seller.
I was going to ask y'all tonight what's y'all's favorite Halloween candy, but I don't know how many of y'all actually gave out Halloween candy tonight. Thank you for that super chat, as always. Michael Brooks blocked a punt and LSU won in Tuscaloosa.
He was a great one now.
Trevon Lawrence, where do you rank Neighbors and Thomas in LSU's duos? Top 5 in LSU history?
Well, statistically, you have to at this point, in case you don't know, Malik Neighbors leads the country with 981 yards at this point. And Brian Thomas Jr., who I think the crystal ball came up 11. Brian Thomas Jr. is going to get in the end zone. And is he the bigger surprise this year?
Well, they would be this would be the second best duo, right?
Well, Chase and Jefferson are going to be tough.
Nobody's, but they're beyond Beckham and Landry.
Beckham and Jarvis. I mean, look, there's been some great duos, but because of the stats right now.
I'm just talking about stats.
Yeah. But look, Brian Thomas Jr. is going to score if my crystal ball is not foggy. And Malik Neighbors, both of those guys, Mike, have made a lot of money. And we'll all be going. Karen Lacey, Mike is hoping that he's got the super glue and the dry hands because, as we know, he's going to have some one-on-one coverage. Bring it in, catch it, baby, before you try to run. Number 2.
Abby Celestine, candy corn is my favorite. Oh boy,
I knew it.
Abby, are you telling the truth? I love candy corn. A lot of candy corn haters out there, says Bo Jacks. And Dane Bergeron says Halloween is not the same without Mike Leach talking about candy corn. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Mike Leach. I'm going to go with the $100,000 candy bar. Rick Cloetti. I remember Dalton Hilliard running all over Bama and Legion Field in a rainstorm and tornado warnings. I was soaking wet in there. What year would that have been? Would that have been like?
That was the early 80s,
80,
I would
81?
think. Yeah, well, no, 82, 83, somewhere in that neighborhood. Who knows? But look.
Gary James was on that team?
Yeah. Kevin Falk led LSU 27-0 over there. And as we know, even Curley, they broke the 30-game win streak. Remember when Kevin Moore running around on the field with the LSU flag after the game. LSU's had some big victories over there. Of course, the Bama faithful called Tiger Stadium a lot of names, but for 30 years, LSU had trouble beating Alabama here, it seemed like.
Hey, Tiger fans, when you want to show your LSU Tiger pride, Alumni Hall is your ultimate shopping experience. The best and largest selection of apparel for the whole family. Nike Golf Champion, Columbia, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, hats, Yeti, gifts, and accessories. LSU students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in-store every day, and you can earn cash back with their Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall located in Perkins Row or anytime at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Tiger fans shop. And I swung by there again last week. I was in the area, swung in there to see Rachel and the staff. And they've got all the new stuff, all of the sweatshirts for the cool weather, quarter zip pullovers, jackets. They got a great new military look that they're putting out with the LSU in like an olive green. They've got the works for you over at Alumni Hall. Beautiful store over in Perkins Road. Please tell them you heard about them on TigerBait.com. 1983 was Stovall's last year. LSU lost in Tiger Stadium. Tari Love, we have to catch passes, and also Daniels needs to connect on passes. I don't have any doubt that he's going to do that. I'm pretty confident in what they're going to do. I think, a big key, does he come out fast? Does it take a couple of series? I mean, what if LSU can score on their first offensive series?
Well, that was the highlight of the 19 game. Joe led him down the field and then threw it, and Jamar Chase abused the corner, and LSU 7-0. And you just knew that LSU offensively was going to do great things. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, best game of his career, scored 4 touchdowns. Look, I think it's very important. You want to start Jaden Daniels off with good stuff. And we know he's going to get his yards on scramble plays, but catch the football and once again, convert on third down. But, Mike, it generally comes down to this. You got to run the football. You've got to stop the run, and you've got to be clean. You don't want to be giving the ball away. You got to win the turnover battle. Special teams, you want to carry a little bit better than what we've had last year. But if you run it, stop the run, and win the turnover battle, you're going to beat Alabama Saturday night.
Jeff Garman, J.T. Curtis going for the all-time high school wins record against Carr. And that game has been moved to a bigger stadium. And it's going to be pretty tough to get it against Carr, but we'll see. JT's going to get it one way or another.
Yeah, he's going to get it this year.
Bo Jacks, Bama fans want to run the ball and eat clock, saying LSU's defense is 77th in the rush yard per game. Well, Bama's offense is 76th in the rush yard per game. Yeah. I think Logan Diggs is going to have a big night.
I do too. I think everybody's going to be screaming, can you dig it like Shaq does? Logan Diggs can also hurt Alabama out the backfield, catching the little slip screen. Watching a lot of football, Mike, everybody does it. Bama executes the screen well, as we know, but get those running backs in the passing game. And look, the last game, I don't know if you realize this, but the second running back that made the field last week, 2 weeks ago, was Caleb Jackson. Does he get a few more carries?
I was waiting for you to finish because I was about to talk about Caleb Jackson.
Does he get a few more carries now? He's matured. Everybody's healthy. I think you see more Caleb Jackson.
We've seen enough of Caleb Jackson's sample size. He has not put the ball on the ground. So you had an open date.
And he's a load.
All right. What is he missing? How much of the playbook doesn't he know? Is he whiffing on pass protection in practice? I don't know. But if he's not, he ought to be getting close to the point where you're saying he's your definite second running back in.
Josh Williams had a great game against Alabama last year, if you remember, in Tiger Stadium. Yeah. And that's the problem when you have that many running backs.
Caleb Jackson is
absolutely
a stud.
He is. But Frank's got to have the crystal ball clear on what running back to put in. Yeah. You and I both were critical in the Ole Miss game when they didn't play Caleb except on kickoffs, and then brought him in on first down, threw the ball, and he dropped it.
And it's got to be because he doesn't know what he needs to know to pass protect. And so that's got to be the only reason. But if he knows all that, if he knows all the protection packages and what to do, then there's no doubt in my mind he should be number 2.
Hey, one other guy we hadn't talked about, I want you guys to remember, and ladies out there too, Nurse Court O'Danny and all the rest of our great lady Tiger fans throughout the country. Chris Hilton ought to be healed up. Bama, you could go dink and dunk and then play action and go over the top. There's going to be some shots. I think Denbrock takes 4 or 5 long shots in this game. Chris Hilton, catch that football and bring it in. They're not going to catch you. And, of course, we've been talking about Aaron Anderson. Do we finally see he signed with Alabama, got hurt, redshirted, came over here. How cool would that be to see number 1 finally make some plays? The rust ought to be off by now for AA.
He would love to have a nice coming out.
He'd love to have a great game.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Please, if you enjoyed the show, hit the like button. Go to TigerBait.com and subscribe. $1, you can try us out. Preston put out a whale of a Bryce Underwood update at the end of last week. He had a lengthy, half-hour interview with Underwood's father. That was some big news. We've been loading the site up with tons of LSU recruiting video, top targets on their board for the next 3-4 seasons. recruiting years, and we've got a lot more coming your way on TigerBait. We went live tonight because the LSU women's exhibition game again tomorrow night. We'll be at that one, and of course, we'll be back here post game Saturday evening, and we'll see if we're going to be talking about an LSU win. But Buddy and I both are picking LSU.
37-34, Mike. Don't forget, you changed the clocks. Sunday morning, after your big Saturday night at 2 o'clock, bars stay open an extra hour to sleep if you're tired and worn out. But hey, they do a great job on the post game. And 37-34. You hadn't given me a score yet, but you're thinking of somewhere in that neighborhood.
I'm thinking like 38-34.
Yeah,
something like that.
Going to be a great one. This is why you're an LSU fan, and there will be a lot to be said. I think this buildup is going to be super big. This is going to be lit Saturday night, and we appreciate you guys and girls and kids all going out there. Hope you had a great Halloween as well.
Absolutely. Happy Halloween. Thanks to all of you for the super chat, and we'll see you on our Tiger Den premium message boards the rest of the week, and we've got a lot more coverage coming your way on TigerBait.com. Thanks, buddy. Good night.